What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Nerd On Update, our weekly show in which we talk about the nerdy news that excited us or piqued our interest of the week, and the last part of the show in which we answer questions from you, the people. We do not do any sort of housekeeping or introduce the hosts, so Corey, why don't you go first?
I'll go first, and I'd like to say that you could save 20% off and worldwide shipping by going to manscaped.com and entering promo code NERDON.
Nice.
I'm doing Tom's job today. It's a lot of fun. Deck your balls with jaws of holly. Is that what he says?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Jolly halls. Anyway, look, we had the annual Game Awards happen.
Yes, we did.
And it was very exciting. A lot of big games come out. I'm not going to list every single one. Again, in the intro of the show, Josh says, the news that excites us. So what am I going to talk about? The games I want to talk about.
Yeah, you are.
First off, Star Wars Eclipse. It is
dope.
a new game coming to us, taking place in the High Republic era, which is in between the Old Republic and where the films take place. So we could have some characters like a young Dooku or something like that, which people are speculating now because of lightsaber shapes within the trailer. We know nothing about the
lightsaber
gameplay.
Shapes?
Yeah, like the hilt. The hilt shape is shaped like Dooku's. So people are like, it could be him. And other people are like, literally other people could have it.
Got it.
But whatever we get, I'm really happy with. The last time we explored a new era in Star Wars gaming, we got Knights of the Old Republic. Y'all know how I feel about that. So I'm very intrigued. We don't know what kind of game it's going to be, what the gameplay is going to be like. If I were to put my hopes and dreams out into the world,
do it.
I would love a 4-player maybe max open world Star Wars game taking place in the High Republic with storylines, RPG elements, and customization.
Bro,
I don't know. That's just what I'm throwing out there. Yeah,
I hate it when you and Tom throw out ideas because I'm like, yeah, now I want that. Just like give me that. I'll take that.
Do some ship battles, all that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm hoping for within that game. Also very excited to see Space Marine 2 trailer for that game. It's a sequel to a game from, I think, like 19 to 20 years ago.
Oh, wow.
But it takes place in the Warhammer 40K universe. Space Marines are these big, badass Marine units. If you've ever heard of Dawn of War games, that's the same era of what the Warhammer 40K games are, what Space Marine is going to be.
I need to play those.
Actually, they're really fun. The first one is Dawn of War is like dated graphics, granted. Oh goodness, look, you're pulling a real Corey.
You know what? I'm doing it. We're doing it, everybody.
Space Marine is basically like a third person over the shoulder shooter, if I'm remembering correctly. Now I'm doubting myself because I'm live, but what are we going to do?
Trust yourself.
Let's stick to it. Anyway, you play as a Space Marine within that universe. As opposed to an army builder, it's a more centralized story around a central character. So that was very exciting. And last but not least at the Game Awards, what did we get? A trailer for the Halo Paramount Plus TV series. Again, minor teaser. We didn't get much from this, but I'll tell you what looks great. The armor. The armor on Master Chief and the other Spartans or Space Marines looks phenomenal. I am of the age where I remember a time when Peter Jackson was in the talks to do a Halo movie.
Oh, wow.
And my heart leapt out of my chest and it fell apart within 3 years. I think it was like 2004, 2005. And it fell apart. And then there was talks about maybe Guillermo del Toro taking on a Halo movie. And then that fell apart also. So to finally be able to see Master Chief, we don't talk about Forward Unto Dawn. Finally see Master Chief on the way he's been. This universe is like aching to have stories told about it. It's so vast. There's so many books.
There's such a fan base too of like.
Yeah, so many characters. It's such a solid fan base. 20 years of fan base building.
Yeah.
To have it not dug into on this type of storytelling yet is pretty crazy to me. So I'm very, 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 very excited for that. It was probably the one I was the most excited for, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it was such a short trailer that the Star Wars one kind of took the cake for me.
I get it.
Shout outs to games like GTFO getting its final release now, which I'm very eager to try. Yeah, if you get to just check out the Game Award trailers, they're all there. There was tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of games that got world premieres that day, and they look fantastic.
Yeah, they look
But
really good.
that's all my news. Oh, I did have to bring up for Tom, and he will bring this up, I think, on the next week's show again. But unfortunately, after one season on the air, the Netflix series Cowboy Bebop has been canceled.
Yep.
We're all John Cho fans here on this show.
Yep.
So while I will be fully transparent and say I haven't watched a whole lot of it yet, I was sad that it didn't get the chance to take off because it's the type of TV you don't really get to see that often.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever watched Pushing Daisies, Josh.
I did.
But it had that kind of vibe where you're like, something's magical here and it just needs time. It needs the time to like grow. And
Yeah.
I wish it could have gotten that. There is a petition online to bring it back, which is being fielded by the writers. I think the head writer said he's disappointed that people aren't going to get to see what they had planned for season 2. But anyway, that was Tom's news. He'll dive more into that later, but I did have to bring that up since
it's really it is unfortunate as a John Cho fan, and I watched just the beginning, the opening scene, and I was very intrigued.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that a friend of the show, Jeff Nimoy, he reached out and asked if I was watching it and said that he was just loving it.
He was loving it?
Yeah.
All
so
right.
we shall see. You know, it seems to be the age of the fans have a voice. So we'll see, you know. So my news, speaking of the Game Awards, a particular trailer was dropped that just got me all sorts of flummoxed.
Hot and bothered?
Yeah, hot and bothered. Glad I wore the white pants that day. The Plague Tale Requiem gameplay trailer was dropped, and I know that I've talked a little bit about the first Plague Tale, and I can't go on about that game enough. It was such a beautiful game, and it was so much fun to play. I played it a few times to get the platinum trophy. It wasn't really much. It's just like a collectibles kind of trophy, but and like finish this level.
Still did it though.
Yeah, it was just it was a good narrative. It was fun gameplay. If I could explain it, it's kind of like a puzzle game in a sense. Like you're trying to get through these maps, and there's certain things in your way, and you got to figure out how to get these things out of your way. And I love stealth games, and part of this game is like you need to be stealthy. So I just loved the first one, and I'm super excited to see the next one come out.
I didn't know you were so into that one.
Oh yeah, it's well, me and Gamer Fuji, shout out, have talked about it a little bit on the Discord, and such a good game, and fully support the developers. We got to play the first one, or like preview it at E3 a couple of years ago, and it was just, they're a cool group of people. But that's first part of news. Next part, so the new episodes of the Sex and the City kind of reboot, and just like that,
yes.
I believe is what it's called. Full transparency, I didn't watch a lot of Sex and the City. I did watch a little bit of it. Bonnie is way into Sex and the City, and was excited for this coming back. And we watched the first episode, and very interesting to see everybody back. Most everybody. There's one part of the crew that isn't. But something happened in the episode. A major character, I won't say who, is using a piece of exercise equipment, and at the end of it, gets off of it, and has a heart attack and dies. And Peloton, who is the brand of this equipment,
the exercise
bike, took a huge hit. Their stock went down like 11%, and they are not happy. I've been reading into it a little bit, and I think B-Rad asked this a few weeks ago, like if we could have choice of like product placement in something that we did or whatever. Well, here's where product placement goes wrong. Because here's the other thing. Peloton didn't know that they were going to be used in this episode. So that's bad. Because from my understanding from reading about it, is that it's okay to use products in things without getting some sort of agreement with the company, as long as it's used in a way that kind of shows them in a good light. It's
or like isn't crucial to a scene,
yeah,
or like
exactly,
in
and
that
it's
sense, like
I think it's called
oh, we
not.
have cereals in the background, but it's a grocery store, so who
Yeah,
cares?
I think the phrase was nominative free use. Basically, they can use it as long as it sticks to the original trademark of the product.
Got it.
Well, they didn't tell Peloton that they were going to use it. They didn't get
In
any
a
sort of
scene where a
agreement.
character dies.
Yeah, they didn't get any sort of agreement. So one trademark lawyer is like, yeah, this is not good. Like they should have at least told them in some way. But
You think they're suggesting that there's room for a lawsuit or something?
yeah, that
Possibly.
there's room for it. We shall see. Yeah, HBO kind of they should have said something. They should have mentioned,
Like a
hey,
hey,
BT Dub, we're gonna use this. Rather important character to the series dies
pivotal
after
scene.
pivotal scene. So yeah, we shall see. Last piece of news. I promise it's my last piece, but I just thought it was so weird and interesting. Talking about spoilers. So Florence Pugh, who played Elena. I always
Mm-hmm.
fear that I say that wrong.
Elena.
Elena in Black Widow, who is taking over kind of the mantle of Black Widow, showed up in Hawkeye, in Disney Plus's Marvel series Hawkeye, and she posted about it, celebrating, so excited, celebrating, posting about it on Instagram to her following, her fans.
Excited to be a part of the
Right? I mean, super excited to, because you don't know what's going to happen after Black Widow. Like you saw the cut scene, or the end cut scene. Talking about video
Mhm.
games, the post credit scene in Black Widow, and now we're getting like so that's what's going to happen,
Oh,
and
that's what they did.
oh, that's why, and yeah, so somebody reported it, and Instagram took down her post, and she said that she is currently blocked from posting about her appearance in Black Widow. So I don't know. It's almost like I have no words. It's like I understand from a spoiler standpoint. Like I know that the world is very spoiler sensitive,
Yeah.
and we don't want spoilers. But it's like there's this fine line where it's like weird. Like
Yeah.
she can't post about something that she did. Like,
Yeah. It's not as
and it
crazy
was
as if
after that
like
it aired. So
let's say, and I apologize if this is a real spoiler because I haven't watched Hawkeye yet, but it'd be a different thing if like Josh Brolin was like excited to be back as Thanos in Hawkeye. Like you'd be like, what? Like this isn't that level of seriousness, you know?
yeah,
It's that this kind of character is like, oh, that's cool, she's here. That's fun, you know?
yeah,
So I think there is a line, and it definitely
yeah,
got crossed here with like, and she didn't spoil like what she was doing in it either. It's just like
yeah,
a stoked to be a part of this project.
yeah,
That should make people go, "Oh God, she's in it. That's cool. I want to see
yeah.
that. What does she do
I
in
mean,
it?"
here's the thing too: is it's like in the Black Widow end credit scene, the target that she's given is Clint, Hawkeye, and so it's kind of one of those things that a Hawkeye series is coming. It's almost like, well, yeah, that's going to be the next step. She's going to appear. So anyway, it seems just such a weird line, and I get it. I understand. I really do understand the spoiler standpoint, but it's kind of like they're don't don't look at it.
Yep,
I guess I don't know.
I'm
Eh,
with you on that.
I don't know.
With
And
that said, Josh, where does that
let's
leave us?
let's get to the next part of the show in which we answer questions from you, the people. And if you would like to submit questions, the easiest way to find the ways, this is the way to submit your questions. You can go on to nerdon.tv/questions. And there are so many ways to submit them, including an email, a Google form. The best way is to head on over to the Discord, nerdon.tv/Discord. There are channels in there that you can submit questions. And if you are a member of the Nerd On Nation, powered by Patreon, nerdon.tv/Patreon, you get what we call a Nerd On Nudge. And you can ask anything like, what we got? What we got? Jeremy M.
Josh, oh, go ahead. I was gonna fill time. Go ahead.
No. Jeremy M asks, complete the sentence. He who controls the blank controls the universe, or she, or they,
Ah,
etc.
he who controls the blank controls the universe. Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question. Finish that sentence.
Finish that
He who
sentence.
controls the water controls the universe.
Get out of my head.
It's what it is, right? Like
Yeah.
that's got to be it. Everyone can live. Eventually, society would function without money.
Yeah.
Eventually society would, but you can't live. You can't water. It's the theme of so many apocalypse movies.
Yeah.
By the way, check out Fast Color. It's water. He who controls the water controls the universe, right?
Yeah. I feel like
simple as that.
Well, since you, because that was what I was going to say. So I will say, I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
Air? I mean, he who controls, no,
Yeah.
like oxygen, like
Yeah.
if you control, even if it's like man-made oxygen, like if you control it, like even if there's space travel, like if you're the one who makes it and controls it, like you're making bank. You've got the
You
power.
also control the water because that's H2O.
Yeah. So
2 oxygens in there, guys.
I just one-upped you. No, just kidding. Cool. Next question.
Science. Yeah.
Science. Mamba asks, would you be interested in playtesting games on Kickstarter, like board games or indie video games?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I actually have the alpha rulebook to the Lord of the Rings tabletop role-playing game that I will be testing. So
nice.
To answer your question, yes.
Was that a part of the, remember you and I were like, okay, I'll back this, you back that, and then eventually Nerd On will...
There was some shipping issues, so I got a digital version that I'm reading through now. It is so easy to get lost in because it's very complicated.
Way to do that.
But yeah, it's gonna take a while to read through, so I'm bringing it on my iPad over the Christmas break here.
Nice.
To hopefully scour through that. But yeah, I would love to play test people's games and stuff like that. I'd love to be like, hey, we invented this game. We want to see if we could sell it. You want to play it? Like, fuck yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Send us your games. We'll play them.
Yeah, exactly. All game devs, whether it's board game or otherwise, head on over to Nerd On.
We kind of did that for your friend.
Yeah, we did.
Who made a game.
Tropic. I'm sorry.
We gave a copy away at our live show.
Yeah, we did.
It was fun.
It was a fun game. We gave it away at our live show, and then we had plans to like do something with him to like play test it and play with it.
Yeah.
And then pandemic
hit.
I even asked him, I was like, is there any way that we could try to do this remote? And he's like, that would be really hard. So absolutely.
Someday.
Yeah.
It's coming.
I've got a new Zombicide coming soon. So
you do? What's the theme on that one?
Western.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. I think it's Dead or Alive or something. Zombicide Dead or Alive. So yes, to answer that, yes. Next question comes from B-Rad.
Mm-hmm.
Pick a movie. Keep one actor. The rest are played by Muppets.
Wait, you know what? We have to wait for Tom on this one.
He's the one who picked it and said just...
I know, but he was going to be here tonight, but something came up. But Brad on the chat last week was specifically needs to be all three. He's been waiting for all three of us to be together for that. So I know Tom marked it there, but I think it just slipped his mind. So we do have to pick a different one and keep that one unmarked.
Okay.
Because it was a specific request that I want to honor.
Well, you know what? I don't want to overstep my bounds because I know that Tom has a system. So why don't we spend more time on chat questions?
Sounds good to me.
Heck yeah.
Brad says, no, you could do it if you want to. No. All three of us. I know Tom was excited about it also. So I also don't. It's a two-sided request here on my part. But you know what? I would say that if you're not part of the Nerd Nation, the second best way to get your questions answered is watching the live show Monday nights, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on nerdon.tv/Twitch.
Yes.
And you can ask questions, since we're already talking about it, such as Black Diablo Mambo says, some people who don't know, the Nerd On crew sometimes plays Zombicide, and there's been many different alliterations of it from Plague and now Marvel versions. What kind of Zombicide concept would you want to see made? Josh is going to say My Hero Academia, so someone else go. Just kidding.
How dare you, sir? Be so right. How dare you say so? Be so brave. No. I would totally take because they mentioned like Marvel zombies. I would totally take a Deceased, which is DC's basically zombie apocalypse storyline.
Deceased Zombicide would be very cool.
It would be so dope. Yeah, that's a good answer. Way to go, Josh. Way to go, Josh.
Say.
Thanks, other Josh. What about you?
For me, well, they had the Ninja Turtles, which was pretty cool, but it wasn't like a base one. I would say, okay, there's two in my head right now. There's two that I'm kind of stuck between, and I think you know what it could be. Okay, I'm gonna lay them out here, and I need your help deciding.
Okay.
So right off the bat, Halo comes to mind because there's already the Flood in the Halo universe.
Okay.
And you could be like Sergeant Johnson, you could be Halo, you could be Cortana, you could be all the other, Spartan Locke, you could be all these different types of people.
Yeah, there's room for
Keys.
characters that can be your team.
And you'd have your own unique Flood zombies created already in universe. Like they already exist. But y'all know me, and I think a Lord of the Rings zombie game could be very cool.
I so know you. Because those are because he's gonna say
it would be awesome because you would have like, the hobbits have a certain play style, or Gandalf would have a certain play style, or whatever. Anyway, that would be I think I'm gonna stick with Halo though, because for me it makes sense lore wise, because there's already like zombies in that universe, and you get guns and like sticky grenades.
You know that Legolas would have the slip ability.
Oh, 100%.
Like totally.
And so would Bilbo though.
Yeah, that's true.
Because he's a burglar.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
Oh man.
Yeah, plethora of characters there. Wouldn't it be cool to see a Power Rangers one too?
I thought about that too. That would be dope.
Did you?
Yeah, I thought about that. That would be dope.
I would love that. That would be some cool IP.
Man. Now I just want to play this. Let's contact them.
Write them. We'll write them.
Yeah.
We'll say we need a Halo one. We need a My Hero one now.
Yeah.
Like today.
Let's do it.
Get on
Let's do it. Deceased. I'm sticking to
that answer.
All
right. Next question from the list. This question comes from Ethan Who. Ethan asks, if you could pick one baked good to have in the apocalypse, what would it be? Assume it won't go bad or spoil. Right?
Yeah.
Pretty good. Pretty good question. For me, it's banana bread.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good. And it's good for like a dessert, but it's also like eating it for breakfast doesn't feel terrible. Like there's been days where I'm like, I'm going to have this Reese's at 9 a.m. and I eat it. I'm like, oh,
no, it just doesn't hit
did
right.
not like that. So, but banana bread, probably same amount of sugar content, slice it up. And I'm like, I'm healthy. I had banana bread this morning.
Are you though? I got into like this weird banana bread kick a couple of months ago where it was just like, I want banana bread. You can't stop me. I don't care. I'm going to have it. And then Bonnie did this thing one night and I was like, what is wrong with you? But it was so delicious. She put cream cheese on her banana bread. And I was like, whoa, what? This is amazing. How have I never heard of this? It was so good.
I haven't tried that, but that's a really good, good answer.
Right?
I'm seeing some good ones in the chat too. Croissants. Oatmeal's not a baked good, is it?
Oh, like.
No. That's a good answer, though. If you could have one thing to eat, because if you had one thing to eat, that's like proteins, fiber.
Well,
good to go.
He that makes me think of one that I would totally take would be like oatmeal raisin cookies. Like,
get out of my head, Josh. When I was thinking about cookies, I was like, well, it's oatmeal raisin because I get made fun of though because I'm the guy at the party where there's like, the M&M cookies. There's like chocolate chip cookies. There's the macadamia white chocolate, and I'm like. Oatmeal raisin though, and I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Those are the saddest cookies. And I was like, you mean most delicious? I'm enjoying my fiber and my raisins and my sugar all at the same time.
Who says that? Why would they say that?
A lot of people are like, really like, people have the same energy about oatmeal raisin cookies as they do about Hawaiian pizza, and I don't understand either of those.
I did not know this.
I'm not even a Hawaiian pizza eater, but I don't get I get it. Like fundamentally I'm like, yeah, if it tastes good, you like it, whatever. But like people get angry about oatmeal raisin cookies. They're like, this is the old man cookie that you're eating. I get this. I get the same energy because you know what ice cream I love? Pralines and cream. And people are like, what are you, 70 years old?
Yeah.
Like, God damn. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe because those people who are 70 have lived all life and tried all the ice creams and they've all decided this is the best one. This is the best one from experience.
My gosh.
I'm just hitting it early. I just got it down. That's all.
Oh, you're an old soul.
That's
Wow,
what
I
it
did
is.
not.
That's how
I feel like my whole world is just changed forever. I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's weird. Anyway,
Next
oatmeal
question.
raisin. You know what? I'm gonna have a party. You're gonna come over, and it's just gonna be just oatmeal raisin cookies, and you and I are gonna be like, "Fuck all of you."
All y'all. People are gonna be like, "What? Why is everything oatmeal cookie like themed?" Because
And
it's the
pralines and cream
best.
ice cream. What do you got?
Yeah. What?
We're ordering pizza though. Don't worry, it's Hawaiian.
Oh, I just thought about brownies. Anyway, go.
That was a fun question. Thank you, Ethan, for that one. We're gonna keep cruising through here. Um, excuse me. Zelna Moore asks, question: when it comes to cross-platform games like Destiny, Among Us, Fortnite, to name a few, do you feel that one platform has the advantage over others? So, like,
Interesting.
for me, I don't think the consoles have advantage over each other, but I could see the keyboard mouse, the PC having, you know,
Yeah.
advantage over the consoles just because of the amount of control you have.
Yeah.
Um,
Is because I am of the uninitiated and I don't play
mhm.
enough. I don't play a lot of PC, just in general over my whole life. But I've heard that even your with keyboard and mouse on a PC, even like your aim is better and stuff like
Right. So you can
that.
be more accurate. You can also people like have gaming mouses where they'll like, so like let's say you have a gun, the recoil slow, an automatic gun, the recoil slowly makes you aim up over time, right?
Yeah.
People hotkey one of their mouse buttons to counteract that. So now they're just shooting straight with this
Oh.
automatic weapon.
Oh. Okay.
I know for a fact snipers are easy on a keyboard and mouse because you can control super accurate where your reticle is. However, I do know, at least in Halo Infinite, and it's probably similar in a lot of first-person shooters also, they make up for this for there's like a mild passive aim assist you get on consoles that you do not get on PC.
Interesting.
So
Yeah, Back 4 Blood
you'll
has
have like a
an aim
dead
assist,
zone
so
where you're on a character where your literal movement will slow down when you're looking from left to right. So like
yeah.
stay on the body and they're like, do you want to shoot this? And then there's literal like a literal aim assist, so you could be a little off and it'll still the bullets will still kind of bend back.
Oh, interesting.
So I still think though, just from what I named on the keyboard and mouse, that the PC still has a strong advantage.
Yeah.
Being able to control your recoil, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Well, there's also you have the ability to have like not multitasking per se, but you can potentially have multiple programs open at the same time, and you know there's just there's a lot more. I don't know what I'm trying to say. PC, yeah, I think would probably still have a little bit more.
Yeah,
One
I
up.
mean, we can't hotkey our controllers. You know, like the closest we have for Xbox at least is the Xbox Elite, and you can there's 4 tabs on the back that you can assign buttons to.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, you
so
also
a
have
big
like
one.
Scuff. They make some pretty dope controllers that have
Yeah,
just like what you're saying, where there's extra stuff, there's extra bars in the back that you can move the like X and
the X
square
button or
and
the A
yeah.
button, so you can crouch and not have to move your thumb off the movement. But at the same time, it's not a recoil adjustment. It's not a custom hotkey that you can make, which is wild to me. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's not much of an advantage. I think it's getting less. The gap is slowly
Yeah. Well, as more things
slimming, but
become
it's
crossplay,
there.
I think everybody's thinking about how to make it kind of an even playing ground, so to speak, or just kind of like almost a lateral move where you're like, oh, okay, whether I play this on here, it really just comes down to preference of what you like.
I'm
So,
just happy we're getting cross-platform games, baby.
yeah, man,
That's
I'm
all I
all
want.
I'm
Thank you,
all good
Zell,
with
for
it.
that question. Appreciate it. Let's keep going here. Let me see. A lot of good ones on here. Usually Tom probably has these prepped beforehand, but there's some on here that I like need to save for Tom because he's specifically said they're his favorite. Like in the realm of, is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yeah.
So we need to save those.
You need the hot questions left for the
Yeah.
hot mans.
Here's one from Thomas Delorio. It says, thoughts on the Klingon face in Star Trek.
What? What?
What are your thoughts?
Just thoughts?
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny how it's so iconic. Like you just like when you see it, you're like, oh yeah, that's Star Trek, and you're just like, oh, that's what a Klingon looks like. You're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's
It's wild that a character that looks very like I have no proof to back this up, but it looks like they based the Klingon skull shape off of like Neanderthals, right?
Yeah.
Which were like for some reason invokes in me some sort of like, oh shit, like they could fuck some shit up.
Yeah.
And yet the thing, I'm not a huge Star Trek fan. Like straight out the gates, not that I'm not a huge fan. I just mean I haven't watched a lot or consumed
You don't have
enough
enough
Star Trek
experience to really have a dog in the
to
fight.
speak on it.
Yeah.
But from what I've seen, like I used to watch the original a lot. Like Sick Days, Home from School was like that. Price is Right and Planet of the Apes original series. Like
Hell
those
yeah.
were my three things I would watch a lot. So I'm more familiar with like Kirk and Spock and Uhura and stuff like that. But
Next
when
gen.
it comes
like,
to
no.
Yeah.
No.
That's the first.
No, just
very
kidding.
First.
Don't listen to me.
Picard and Riker, that's Next Generation, which I didn't watch as much. LaForge, Reading Rainbow, all that kind of stuff. But what I will say is Star Trek has always, from the get-go, from its creation, has always been really, really wonderful at subverting, I don't want to say expectations, but like prejudices and not even negative prejudice, but just prejudice in general. When you see someone or think that someone's going to be a certain way, that character usually turns out to be one of the coolest or nicest. Like look at Worf. Like these Klingons are painted as the worst of the worst, like mean bad guys, whatever. And then Worf's there and he's like got their back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just I got to give a shout out to Star Trek as a whole for just really doing that, and starting with Uhura. She just got, I think she's 81 now, 82, 88, maybe 88. She was just at LA Comic-Con and they did like an honor of her life kind of thing.
Yeah.
And she was actually going to quit the show after the first season. And then she met Martin Luther King, and Martin Luther King was like, please stay on that. I've watched every episode. Please stay on the show. You are showing people that Black people can be a big part of the future. They can be in space. We can do what we want. And you're showing that to people on their TVs in their homes week to week. And so she stayed on the show. And that like gives me goosebumps every time I read that story or hear that story. And
that is
so
cool.
But I think that ideal has kind of like pushed through the series as a whole. And again, I only have these small references from what I've seen.
Well,
from the outside.
Even Jonathan Frakes, when he was on our show twice, check out those episodes. He talked about how the creator wanted to, put themes in there, put like really important stuff, like in the show, so that they're talking about things of modern day in this, and it's hidden behind kind of the veil of sci-fi, but you're like, oh shit, like this is a really important thing to talk about.
Creating a world in the future that you want to see. It's like, I'm going to shout out our friends at Carcerum they created a show where one of the leads is a female. And I heard this conversation happen a lot with Shane, where they're like, so, she's like a woman being a warrior, like a lead. And he goes, right. But you have to understand, in the world of Carcerum, that's not a thing. It's just that she's a warrior. She happens to be female, but there is no male or female agenda. They wrote every character genderless so they could cast whoever they wanted. No race, no age, no gender, just whoever fits the part. And that it's about creating the worlds you want to see, right? Be the change you want. And I think Star Trek has always kind of pioneered that. So anyway,
that's awesome.
Don't remember what the question was. Klingons.
Yep.
Their faces are cool.
Just it goes to show that you can tangent about anything, really.
Yeah. What do we think? A couple more?
Yeah, a couple more questions.
I hope that answered your question.
And then some.
Man. Okay. I have one from Barad in the chat today.
Be rad.
People always say find your tribe when talking about creative work. How would you say someone should go about finding their tribe?
I have an answer.
Go for it, man. Take this one. Yeah, go for it.
I think that, I don't know if this is a hot take, but do the things that you like, do the things that interest you, whether it's like, for me, I remember the first time that I started taking all my theater classes for my major in college, and I was taking all the classes, and I was like, these are my people. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
And, take the classes that you're interested in or whatever, surrounding yourself, it'll just kind of happen where you're just like surrounded by the people that are your peeps. Like, even when you're like how we met, like, yeah, we just happen to have Apple that we worked at, but you start to overhear conversations of like, oh, they like that movie. Oh, they like that video
Mm-hmm.
game. And you just kind of like, you're slowly slinking in of like, yeah, I like that too. You know what I mean? Like, you just kind of like focus on the
Yeah.
things that you like, and then
I think the best way to do it, if I can build on that, because
yeah,
I agree with everything you said, but is making sure you're being honest about who you are as well,
yeah,
and that can be honestly the toughest part. Because if you're not, then guess what? You have to wear a mask around that person forever,
yeah,
because that's who they think you are. Best way to find your tribe is like I did with Nerd On, and like I did with Storyboard. Just be really open and honest with those people about who you are, what you're, whatever you're meeting for. So we're speaking creative work here. The first night we did Storyboard, and the same is true for the first time we did Nerd On. The first time we all got together, we didn't make anything. We just talked for hours about what our beliefs are, what our what's important to us, what we find interesting, and if we hadn't been honest or created a space where we felt like we could be honest
yeah,
about who we are, I think it's bound to fall apart.
yeah.
And
You're honest
so
about who you are in that moment, because you're, as people will change. Like, even since we started Nerd On, I've changed.
mhm.
And you've changed, Tom's changed, and it's like, but we're still always honest, I think, in those moments of who we are in that moment of like, oh, hey, I'm better about talking about what bothered me about something, and
Better
not
about
feeling
qualms. Yeah.
better about qualms, and I'm not feeling like you guys are going to judge me. Like, I'm just being honest. Like,
Yeah.
so
No,
it's
and the other thing about finding your tribe is finding those people you can continue to be honest with, because I think some of our biggest growth moments have been when one of us has come to the table and been like, "Hey guys, gotta be really honest about something, and you're not gonna like to hear it, but here we
yeah.
go." And knowing that those people will have your back through it. I mean, don't be shitty, because then they don't have any
Yeah.
responsibility to have your back. Like, I stole all the money from the company. You're not gonna want to hear this. No, but like being honest about like, hey, I'm just to use your example since you brought it up, the qualms thing, being like, hey, I'm really uncomfortable talking about this. I know it's an integral part of your show, and then it was our job to be like, take your time with it. It is a part of our show. If you can do it, great. We're not going to force you to do anything, but just know that we're not going to judge you for whatever it is, and working from there. So stuff like that is
Yeah.
very important to
People
find
you
your
can be
tribe.
honest with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a
So
good one. I like that.
most of Josh's everything Josh said, and I just had a little breadcrumb at the end there.
Yeah, you tiger
I
pounced.
agree
You
with
added
that.
to it.
Yeah, Tiger pounced. I'm gonna do one more from Brad Bad Reprint here, since we brought it up in the episode. Since Corey seems to be knowledgeable about it, how should I first dive into the world of Warhammer? Because I think this could also apply to you, Josh.
I don't know.
I would honestly say Dawn of War 1.
Yeah.
It's on Steam. There's a lot of expansions, but give it a try. Give it a playthrough. I'm also playing Gloomhaven right now through Steam on my free time, by myself time. It seems to be pretty fun. But I really enjoyed Dawn of War 1 and Dawn of War 3 also. A lot of people are a fan of Dawn of War 2. It kind of changed the genre a bit, so I wasn't totally in love with it. The other two are RTS games, so like StarCraft, you're
Oh,
building
okay.
armies and sending them out and stuff like that.
I
And
loved
2 kind of changed that format.
I loved Warcraft 2.
Warcraft 2, yeah, Warcraft 2 and Warcraft 3 are phenomenal games. Same style there.
Yeah.
But I would say try playing those games and then go from there. There's a ton of offshoot games that are really, really great. And I think they're a lot of fun. I think it's a really fun universe. Or even dive into some of the cinematics from the games. See if it's your style of storytelling or the setting is even for you. Because it's a futuristic space marine battlefield kind of thing, but it's also very gothic at the same time and almost fantasy. Like there's
I know I've
wizards and
always
shit.
been like drawn to it when I've seen art, or like we've been at a couple of E3s where there'd be like a small like representation of the game or something like that, and it's like that
Yeah.
looks dope. That looks really cool.
It's cool. I mean, I would almost say, now that I've said it out loud, start with the cinematics, see if it's your style, and then go for number one. It's pretty cheap on Steam at this time. So yeah, check it out. That would
All
be
right.
my answer. So what do you think? One last one here?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
One last one, since there's no
Let's-
time. We've been answering these questions real quick. I'm gonna do MX Raft's question here. If you had to choose a natural disaster that you would hate to be in, natural disaster you would hate to be in, which one would you say was your worst? Send your worst enemy. Floods, fires, windstorms, constant earthquakes, lightning storms, meteor storms, ice storms.
Damn.
One we would hate to be in, and one we would send our worst enemy. I think I got that question right. MX Raft, if you're still here. So which one would I hate to be in? And one to send my enemy. I'll be honest with you, tornadoes freak me out.
Yeah.
Tornadoes freak me out the most. Because you see it and you're just like, I guess hunker down and hope for the best.
Yeah.
At least with like
I think I'll be all right.
Which earthquakes scare me. Don't give me any, I'm not like here to judge. You don't have that like time beforehand to be like, oh shit, I guess this is happening. It's just you're in it and you got to deal with it.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can handle those kind of situations better than I can with like let's all get in the storm cellar.
Yeah.
And hope we're fine.
Yeah.
I'm also a little claustrophobic, so the idea of being in a storm cellar and be like, we got to hold out here and someone finds us maybe, scares me also.
Yeah.
So, and which one would I send my worst enemy? Fires.
Just
those also
fires.
scare me.
Yeah. Feel the wrath of my anger. For me, being true to myself, I am so like a flood would freak me out. Like in terms of like a really bad flood. Like I've experienced like I've experienced a little bit of a flood, but it wasn't at all like apocalyptic level at all. I have this thing about, I love water. I love swimming. I just have this thing about like being in deep water and not knowing what's under me, like that kind of thing. And there is a little bit of like drowning just sounds terrible. Like when I see those kinds of scenes in movies, I'm like, that just
no.
Thank you. No, thank you.
And also cold floods, because with warm water, this is so dark all of a sudden. With warm water, you pass out. You do pass out, and so you don't know you're drowning. But with cold water, your body won't allow you to. So you're awake.
What in the F?
Why'd I do that to you? I'm so sorry.
Oh!
But I watched a couple of seasons of that fishing show, and that's what they talked about right off the gates.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow. What would I send my enemies? Yeah, that.
Yeah.
A cold water flood. Oh my God.
On that note,
that's
the update.
Everybody at home, thank you for watching and feeling this episode. If you or listening, if you're on your favorite podcast app, we are everywhere. So if you have one that's your favorite, we're probably there. So pick one. We are there. Yeah, we're everywhere. If there is one that you're like, man, I wish you guys were on this, you know?
Sorry, I just read Brad. Hey, Corey, what the fuck?
Yeah, watching.
I'm Crazy Corey.
Crazy Corey is what they say. Check us out on YouTube. All of our episodes go to video there, so check it out there. Join us on Mondays, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Get into the chat. That's where we are on Mondays, streaming this show. And you can submit your questions in the chat. Speaking of which, go to nerdon.tv/questions. You can submit all of your questions, all the stuff that you've always wanted to know. Submit them. We love to answer them, and as you can see, we'll answer anything pretty much within reason. Join that Discord, nerdon.tv/Discord, and do consider joining the Nerd On Nation. It really does allow us to be the best that we can be, keep upgrading our content, and let's be honest, our goal, our dream is to do this full time. You know, maybe fund some storyboard stuff, you know, that kind of thing.
Maybe some Halo or My Hero Zombicide when that comes out.
I like it. Yeah, we want to have our own building, that kind of stuff. I'm so down. I actually like, no joke, sometimes when I'm driving around LA or like Burbank, especially, because that would be like a central point for all of us, I'm always like, that would be a cool building. That would be dope. There's one building that I have in mind that anytime I see it, I just go, that would be a dope building.
And then we can make it flood proof. We can make it
fireproof, tornado proof,
earthquake proof.
Nice.
Cold flood proof.
Share us with your friends and family. Rate and review us. That kind of stuff really does help some people make their choice on whether to listen or not based on that. And one last piece of housekeeping, go to manscaped.com, get 20% off and free shipping with the code NERDON. But that's it. That is all the business. You know the drill. As always, nerd on.
Nerd on.